everybody, it's Alexis here. I hope you're doing well. This is a video I've wanted to do for about a year now, and so I'm really excited to share this vintage piece of fashion with you. I purchased a 1950s wedding gown on eBay, of all places, for about $50. I was nervous because a vintage wedding dress like this would probably sell for hundreds of dollars on other channels, so I was worried that I'd be getting something unexpected. The dress arrived in its original cardboard box, which is about 2.5 feet long, and while I'm kind of sad the seller chose to use the dress box as a shipping box, I'm grateful to have it at all. Despite its age, the box doesn't have any smell or unusual wear, especially for a box that's been through the post. The label here beneath the illustration says Brides of 1858, which would have been about 100 years before the dress was originally purchased. The illustration appears to be hand-colored, which was popular in the 19th century before color photography, so it's likely that this coloring was either a stylistic choice by the dress shop or was done later by the dress's owner. Inside the box, the words "The Bridal Shop Hutzler Brothers Co., established 1858, Baltimore, Maryland," are embossed into the pink lid, the same year as that bridal portrait. Upon seeing this for the first time, I decided to do some research into where this dress came from because Baltimore isn't too far away from where I am, meaning this dress hasn't traveled very far in its roughly 70 years of life. And here is what I found. Hutzler's, or the Hutzler Brothers Company, was a chain of 10 department stores across Maryland, with an original flagship location in Baltimore founded in 1858. This location featured a bridal salon on the 4th floor. The company apparently peaked in the 1950s, with the first expansion being in 1952, which is about when this dress would have been purchased. These days, Hutzler's is defunct and has been for over 30 years. The company liquidated in 1990, and though the retailer is gone, Hutzler's Palace in Baltimore made the National Register of Historic Places in 1984 and still stands today. This bride was incredibly careful and even kept her return receipt. I can't really read what it says on here, but I will leave the front and back up for you to read if you'd like. The receipt is dated 6/24, but there's no year. There is also no price, as what appears to be the word "all" occupies the price and address sections of the ticket. Because the shipping and address sections are left blank, I think it's safe to assume that this dress was purchased in person as opposed to through a catalog. The back of the receipt states that the dress can be returned within 2 weeks of purchase. Do you think there's still time for that? Also inside the box is an advertisement for fabric shoes, as well as a white fabric swatch that doesn't match anything on the main dress. It's possible that at one point there was a pair of white wedding shoes in this box that were separated from the dress. Unfortunately, there's no brand associated with this ticket or the swatch. Thirdly, there's a white decoration in the box that must have come from the bride's wedding day. It's a white plastic bell with flowers and 2 dove decorations. The back of the bell has the words "Good Luck" embossed into it. The bottom of the bell has the number 49 written on it. Maybe this was the centerpiece at the bride and groom's table. Clearly, the bride took great care to preserve the memory of her wedding day, and it's such a shame that this piece of her history isn't still with her family. In fact, I don't even know who this dress originally belonged to. See, the person I bought this from told me that they also didn't know who the original owner was because they bought it secondhand at a flea market several years ago in Pennsylvania. I'd like to think that the dress isn't in the bride's possession anymore because she's out there living her best life in her 80s or 90s and didn't take it with her when she moved. The first thing I did when I received this dress was clean it. It smelled like what I thought was cardboard and glue, and when I washed it, the water was a dark yellowish brown and it smelled even stronger than the dress did in the first place. I now realize a year later that the smell was probably cigarette smoke buildup. So, enough blabbering, let's look at the actual dress, right? So the dress didn't have any stains that I couldn't remove on the outside. However, there are dress shields inside the armpit of the dress, and boy, oh boy, are they soiled. I have no idea what the bride was doing at her wedding, but she really dirtied these guards. There's a label on the guards which reads Kleinart's Blue Label Guaranteed, 100% cotton, size 2. Upon doing some research and trying to read that cursive, Kleinart's is still up and at it, unlike Hutzler's, and is still making dress shields. In fact, their logo is still pretty much exactly what it used to be all those years ago. Secondly, I know that cotton stains easily, but I don't know what this could be. If you have a guess, let me know. I really hope I don't get a comment saying, "That's mold, dummy," or something. Thirdly, the size indication is the only place on this entire thing that tells me about the size. Put a pin in that. Also, notice how the inserts have finished edges. Nowhere else on the dress has finished edges. Alright, so now I'm putting the petticoat that came with the dress on the mannequin. The petticoat's netting is coarse and stiff and shows no sign of breakage. Even the ribbon that fastens around the waist is quite strong. Remember the size 2 thing? Well, my mannequin, as well as myself, are not a size 2. So this dress isn't going to close. Don't worry, I don't force it. I promise I'm not about to rip this dress. Now, onto the dress itself. As you can see, it's a cream color. I wore stark white to contrast the cream color of the dress so you can really tell the difference. There's an applique all over the dress that seems to be made of the same material as the overlay. Speaking of, the overlay is stitched to the regular skirt, something that I haven't seen before. The entire dress is the same color, as well as a random sash which came with the dress. However, I have no clue where it might go. It's not a veil, and it's not long enough to become an extension to the skirt. It's too long and oddly shaped to be a belt, and it doesn't have finished edges, and it's also pretty stained. Next, there are these glovettes, which at first I thought were sleeves. They have the same button detailing as the back of the dress. I kind of think they're detachable sleeves because they're made of the same sheer material as the skirt overlay, so having matching sleeves would make sense. But there's nowhere to loop them onto the dress, so I guess they are in fact glovettes. So here you'll notice the unfinished edges thing I was talking about. None of the edges are finished, meaning they're all raw save for the ones that are pinked. It sort of gives it a homemade look. Okay, now on to trying the dress on. I tried my best to sort of make a 1950s silhouette. I also chose to wear basically my dance clothes under the waist trainer because I didn't want the oil on my skin to rub off on the dress, especially not on those underarm things. And despite the fact that the dress doesn't fit at all, I still felt really pretty in it. I had to do some obligatory princess twirls. So here's me pretending to be a princess. Now that I'm editing this, I'm wondering if the dress would have fit better if I had actual 50s style undergarments. Part of me thinks it wouldn't have made a difference because this isn't my normal dress size anyway. Also, you can see the fabric itself is quite sheer. It's translucent enough that you can still make out the darts and seams between the layers. I think this dress is really beautiful, and I love how elegant it is while still feeling like a princess ball gown. I love the bodice especially. It creates this really neat illusion with the darts. I like how the petticoat widens at the hips but doesn't poof out the entire dress. It reminds me a bit of late 18th century fashion. In fact, I kind of feel like I'm in the Hamilton ensemble. I hope you guys like this video. I really love this dress. Let me know if you collect vintage clothing. Let me know if you have any old wedding dresses, or if you know what that stain is. Bye guys.